So welcome to the 2025 workshop on tips for submitting an abstract to the HERDSA 2025 conference. Today, this session will be facilitated by myself, Julia Choate. We've also got Alice Brown, Manisha Thacker, Edward Palmer, Pushpa Sanaya, and Amanda Richardson, all members of HERDSA and involved with the special interest groups and HERDSA branches. Because this session is hosted by the HERDSA branches and the HERDSA special interest groups. First of all, I would like to acknowledge and pay my respects to the people of the Kulin Nations on whose land my university, Monash University, operates. I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. And many of you I know who are participating today are not based on the Kulin Nations. I pay respects to your traditional owners of the lands from wherever you may be joining us. And if you wish, you can put and acknowledge these traditional members in the chat function on the Teams. Okay, a bit of housekeeping. So you've probably noted that this session is being recorded, but the recording will cease when we go into our breakout rooms, just to note that. If you have any questions, you can put them via the chat function and we will respond. Before we kick off with the abstract workshop, just a little bit about HERDSA, which I'm sure you know all about. HERDSA is the Higher Education Research and Development Society of Australasia. It's a scholarly society that's committed to the advancement of higher education, higher and tertiary education, and it encourages the dissemination of research and teaching on learning and higher education development. And it also aims to build strong academic communities. So you'll see on this slide that HERDSA offers fellowships. We have SOTL modules. There are 2 journals aligned with this society. We have an annual conference, and we're looking at the abstracts for the 2025 conference today. You can also, through HERDSA, apply for research grants and awards, and we also have special interest groups and local state-based HERDSA branches. Apologies. Just to highlight the values of HERDSA are connection, inclusion, inquiry, integrity, and quality. So what are we doing today? In this abstract workshop, well, first of all, I'm going to give a quick overview of HERDSA conference abstracts. Then at the end of this overview, 2 of our facilitators will unpack their successful HERDSA 2024 abstracts. Then we're going to move to breakout rooms and look at what you've been doing with your abstracts. So I'd like to highlight that we ran a HERDSA abstract writing workshop last year for the 2024 conference. And one of the reasons we did this is because for the 2023 conference, we found there were a number of abstracts that were of poor quality or were not well put together. So we thought that we would give people some support in the process of abstract writing. And lo and behold, the 2024 abstracts were absolutely amazing. So I'd like to think that running these abstract writing workshops has supported and improved the quality of the conference abstracts. And also, so you were provided with a video, which was taken from last year's abstract workshop, to look at about how to put together a successful abstract for HERDSA. Don't worry if you didn't look at the video, but hopefully many of you had a chance to actually look at that video. Okay, so the deadline for the abstracts is on Sunday, the 2nd of February at midnight. I note it's Australian Western time. I believe they're 3 hours behind me in Melbourne, so it's just something worth noting. And you submit your abstract via the portal, which you will find through the HERDSA conference website. And the link is actually there as well. So when you write your abstract, you need to align it with one of the conference themes. And here's a list of the different conference themes. And if you go to the website, you'll see that under each of the themes, there's a list of sub-themes. So the broad themes are governance and policy, teaching, learning and the student experience, pathways and partnerships, innovation and research, professional learning for changing academic practices, and values, justice and integrity. The format of the abstract. So the abstracts can be written for either a showcase, which is an evidence-based oral presentation of research practices, practice, leadership and policy, or a poster, which again is evidence-based on any aspect of research and development in higher education. And the final format is a roundtable discussion, which can be on any aspect of research and development in higher education. And note, there is no requirement for the evidence base there. And the roundtable needs to be either a point for debate, a work in progress, or birds of a feather. And again, if you go to the conference abstract component of the website, you'll find details about these, more further details about these abstract formats. Okay, how do the abstracts get reviewed? This was also covered in the video that we sent around. They're reviewed against the following criteria: the relevance, the description of the research initiative or practice, the contribution to scholarship and or practice, clarity and standard of writing, and then finally engagement, how you will engage the audience. And this is only relevant if your abstract is for a showcase or a roundtable. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to pass over to Pushpa, who is going to take you through her HERDSA 2024 abstract, which was for a showcase. Over to you, Pushpa.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'll give you a few minutes to read through the abstract. Apologies for it being small, but this is the format that was submitted for last year's conference. I had initially submitted the abstract as a poster presentation. The application, though, got accepted as a showcase presentation. So this final version then had to be reformatted for a showcase presentation. So the major difference between the showcase and the poster is this little section here about engagement and how you engage the audience. So in reformatting the abstract, I had to include the engagement component. So that's what you might find when you are submitting an abstract. There's actually word counts for each section, and you have to be quite clear of what it is you're trying to get through. So this engagement section in terms of how I might discuss STEM anxiety and how I would engage the audience was then included into the final abstract format. The other reviewer comment that I'd also received then was in relation to the method section in terms of this last line here about how many of the students actually enrolled in our particular STEM-based program. And so in terms of if you have available to you specifics of any quantitative type of data or qualitative type of data, then it's actually very useful to include all of those comments in the method section. Yeah, so eventually this was presented as a showcase presentation.
Thank you, Pushpa. Let's move on, and now Alice is going to talk about her successful roundtable abstract from the HERDSA 2024 conference. So over to you, Alice.
Oh, thank you. And before we go on, I've just added a few little tips on going through a process of submitting your abstract. There's a few little caveats that you need to complete before you start the submission process. So I've just put those in there for you. The other thing is that with Pushpa's information she just shared, or if you're looking at our example abstracts from last year, if you have any questions regarding any aspects of this, please just put them into the chat area, and then we can talk about that afterwards. So this was a round table. They were very, very popular last year in particular, and the year before, but last year there was a significant and very, very popular form of presentation. When you're looking at round tables, there's a range of different formats that that you can consider. And for this particular topic, we decided to go with birds of a feather. Why? Because the topic that my colleagues and I, our research team, were looking at the time was quite new. It was inspired by and emerged from the Accord report, particularly the initial interim report. So it was a topic that we thought, we're really interested in exploring this. It was going to feed into a study, a project, a SOTL project. But is anyone else interested in this? So be thinking about what you really want the purpose and the intent of the roundtable to be for you and your colleagues that are working and presenting, as well as for others. So that's a really big decision, first off. So we wanted to see if there was any others that were interested in joining this flock. So it was birds of the feather. And then basically you can see here that what do you really want the focus of the roundtable to be? So that's the discussion focus. So we really wanted to set the scene and to have the focus on the implications of increased equity and access for online teaching and student engagement. And how should teaching and online engagement strategies maybe be nuanced to consider widening access and equity students? So that's really, it's nearly kind of like the rationale in a way, that topic. So just being really tight with that, the intent of the roundtable. And then setting the scene, you don't have a lot of room for that, but it is important, I think, and it adds credibility if you add a number of references. But I believe from memory that your references also are in your word count, I believe. Don't hold me to that, but from memory, we had to kind of like the tension between referencing and demonstrating, adding credibility to that context, but also, being careful that it didn't encroach too much on our word count. So maybe a 3-sentence setting the scene. I call that common ground. So really setting the scene for the naive reader and maybe attracting them also to coming to your round table, right? So it's not only kind of getting it through abstract, but attracting the audience or participants of the conference. Why in the hell should we come to yours? So make that as don't assume that they know about the topic. So that context and background was really important to set the scene. And then I suppose initiative is an interesting word for the next section, description of the initiative. But again, it's kind of like, what's the intent? So we said this initiative seeks to start the conversation because it's a birds of the feather, right? We wanted to start the conversation and gain audience and, initial insight and perspective. Is this something that you're interested in? Is this something that's viable to explore? We were kind of like testing the waters with the roundtable group to see whether that was a viable topic that they were interested in, but also would be viable for a potential SOTL project. And then the outcome and the contribution, you can see here that basically unpacks the initiative and what I just said. So it was really just an impetus was to stimulate, initial conversation. And from this, actually, just out of interest, you may have seen it come through the HERDSA notices and through LinkedIn, but we did do a series of international think tanks at the end of last year, which was our project aligned with, that was motivated and inspired by this actual roundtable. And so we've now done those think tanks, and some of the people that came to the round table said that they really would like to be involved in the think tanks in terms of attending, contributing to those think tanks. So that was there. And then engagement, and I'm not, Pushpa has talked about a little bit, but it's a really, really important part of particularly the showcases and the round tables in terms of what engagement are the participants going to be involved in? Are they just going to be passive, or how can we move and ramp it up so that participants are active in your presentation? And so we thought that we would do a Y chart, and that we would talk and encourage participants to look at what would it look like, sound like, feel like for our teaching and online engagement strategies to be nuanced to accommodate and support equity students better. Thanks.
Now, Alice, you also provided your reviewer feedback. Did you want to take the viewers through this as well?
Let's just have a look. So
okay.
I first want to acknowledge the amazing reviewers that move through the whole process of abstracts, revisions, and feedback. It's a significant voluntary position and takes a lot of time. So I thank them for this. Let's have a look at it. And this is the sort of feedback that you would get, of course, different in your context. It starts with something positive, which is good. And ambitious, which is great. I like the challenge. But it says, however, to further strengthen the proposal. So it's always done from a strength-based perspective, which I love. Clearer articulation of the potential outcomes specific to this session. Okay, so basically, you know, what is the intent of the round table and where to from there. So the abstract that you read was the final abstract where we needed to massage that and help to, it's just a refining of one or two sentences max. The initial focus question appears too broad, so we had to perhaps tighten that, and that was that. So the good thing is that you can see from the front part of the feedback that they value our submission. And so you kind of go, okay, well, as long as I kind of try to address that response, you know, their feedback a little bit, I'm in. So the, you know, the door is still open for that presentation. And remember that, you know, it's not a given that every abstract is going to be supported. It's very competitive. So even to get that initial feedback, you kind of go, great, well, you know, the door is still open, and I respectfully will respond to that, that feedback.
Thank you, Alice. I'd like to, so Alice talked about the roundtable format. Again, last year we ran a how to present effective roundtable session through the HERDSA webinar program. The plan is also to do that again in about June this year, so just before the conference. So you can come along if you want to do a roundtable and learn some tips and tricks on how to give engaging roundtables. I'd also like to mention that both Pushpa and Alice have been promoted since their abstracts last year. So we now have Professor Pushpa and Associate Professor Alice Brown. There you go. Congratulations to both of you. Right, so moving along, the plan now, so we've just had an overview of the formatting of your abstracts, how you're meant to write them up, giving you a couple of examples of successful 2024 conference abstracts of different formats. We're now going to break out.
Julia,
go, Alice.
Did anyone have any questions or anything that needs elaborating on from Pushpa and myself, or questions with regards to the abstract process overall?
Alice and Julia, I've been looking at the questions. One of the question that was sticking up there, do we accept scoping review as a part of abstract acceptance? So I was just replying back to Rupali. Rupali, thank you for asking that question. We accept the showcase of research under showcases of how you're under roundtable. You are welcome to submit any aspect of research, not specifically review, but the initiative that may be in mind, or a point of debate, or any work in progress, or even the birds of a feather format. So it's just the informal dialogue that could be guiding further in the field of higher education. So that was one of the question I thought needed clarification. Other than that, I think other questions are okay to be answered in the chat. You want to add anything on that, any of you?
No, I was going to try to attach, or one of you guys might be able to attach it. I'm just not sure
The
how to
abstract-
attach in
the
the
abstract
abstract
booklet?
book.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
That
you've
would be-
got it there. You've got
It's
it there.
there.
I think Manisha did that. Oh, you're awesome. All right. Yeah, that's great. Oh, that's the abstracts must include the headings. Oh, that's the conference abstracts. No, the 2024 abstract book, Manisha.
Yeah, I will attach that.
That'd be good. Because if you haven't presented or created an abstract for the HERDSA conference, I really encourage you to have a look at the wonderful exemplars in the 2024 abstract book. That's basically the screen grab that Pushpa and I added into the slides. So, or maybe you've done a poster, but you've never done a showcase or a roundtable. So you can go through the abstracts from last year and actually have a look at a dedicated format, or maybe you just want to have a look at the birds of the feather, etc. So by all means use those and the style and get inspiration from the examples in the 2024 conference abstract book. Okay, go for it, Julia.
Oh, well, I'm hoping that we're going to be sent off to breakout rooms. And everyone, please don't run away because you haven't written your abstract. I think it's worth hanging on and seeing, talking with other people about what you could potentially put in your abstract. We can help you with that, for example. I said that and 4 people ran away.
Yeah, that's something I saw.
We won't be
So
recording the breakout rooms. It's a very.
I'm just
No.
going to do the little bit of movement in the assigned room because of those 4 people running away. I've got one room with very low number, whereas the other rooms have very high numbers. I'll just do a bit of movement there, and that would just support the room facilitators as well. Just give me a minute and
Does anyone oh, just ignore me, sorry.
sorry.
I haven't recovered from my holiday yet. Brain fog.
That's a good thing.
Are we ready for the breakout rooms?
Yes. No, we're not recording the breakout rooms.
Yeah,
no, we're not
it
recording.
doesn't get
We,
recorded.
we can cut it or something, yeah?
No, it won't get recorded. Yeah.
While we're waiting for people to come in, those that are here, just think about one key tip that you can take away for strengthening your abstract. Okay, one key tip that you can share, and you can put it in the chat while you're waiting if you like. One key tip that you would take away for strengthening your abstract. So while we're waiting for people to come in, does anyone want to start? We used poor Punso from Torrance University as our lovely test case. Punso, we gave you heaps of information, putting you on the spot. What's one key takeaway that you're going to act on after this session today? I know Manisha's in your group as well, so she's smiling.
I made sure that I wasn't going to that group.
Thanks, Alice. As I put up in the chat, the first thing is the actual motivation that I should be very clear in the background section.
Yeah. One thing that we had talked about was before you even start to write your abstract, what's in it for you and your research team? What's in it for you, either in a showcase or a round table or in a poster, whatever? What's in it for you? What's of value to you? And the second one is, so what? Why should someone turn up to your session when there's 13 other sessions there?
Yeah, Alice, I was like thinking, what's in for the participants that come to my session? So if we manage to have a background or a hook, that would get more people engaged. So who do I want to come and how do I manage to get them in that room, and what's in it for them? What can they gain out of this session? Because you're going to get more people coming through.
Yeah, that's right. And that kind of nicely links sometimes to the intent as well. I mean, the engagement section as well. So how can we really use that engagement section for the value for you and your reason, and also for the value for the participant? Those questions, if you can answer them, and then once you can answer them in your head, if you can weave those into the abstract writing, then it's an attractive abstract for the reviewers. Okay. So what's another takeaway from one of your groups that you found of value, or something that you're going to help to refine your abstract? Anyone can butt in. Let me just see what's in your chat here. I hope you're doing some chatting. Let me see here. Nusha, could you elaborate on your point?
Sure. Julia helped us to be more clear on, depending on the stage of study we are at, stage of research, we can have a roundtable or a poster, or like there's more thinking involved now for us, which was really good.
Good. That's a good point. Julia, did you want to just elaborate on that point and your rationale for that? Can you remember that part of your conversation?
I've just got to remember how to unmute myself. Look, we spent a lot of time talking about, do they have results to present? Are they presenting results of the study, or are they trying to complete a study and want some help putting together, for example, how do I, what sort of methodology should I use for this research question, this study? So in the group we're in, we spend a lot of time talking about the format of the abstract, because I felt that one of them that we looked at was certainly more well aligned with a round table, and one was more aligned with a poster or a showcase, for example. And it was all about, do they have actually done the study? Do they have some data to show? So
I also think that, I also think that basically being very transparent, because of the number of abstracts and the number of participants that attendees that come to the conference, the showcase is very high stake territory, right? So basically, even if it's the first cycle of a design-based research study or an action research study, even the first cycle of a project or initial data may not be enough for a showcase, because it's high stake territory. The other thing, I think I was going to say something in there. If I can go back to Punzo's abstract again, her focus was related to flipped learning. Now, that's not groundbreaking pedagogy, so it's of value to look through the abstracts from last year on your topic and see what has been presented. Just do a keyword search for flip or something like that and see what was presented. And Manisha, I'm thinking that that topic probably was presented on at least 3 or 4 times last year. So basically know what's been done before and what you're adding to that conversation and why those flipped learning specialists or interest people would want to come to your session. So put something in there that's going to attract, those particular audiences. Yeah, so I think that that's important. And have a look at maybe even the 2023 abstracts, just so you know what's going on in that space. All right, let's see.
We've got one hand up there, Alice.
Oh, Celia, you've got your hand up.
Yes, Alice. First, I'd like to thank Julie, yourself, and Pushpa, because we have papers. I'm working with my colleagues, so each of you reviewed one of it. So thank you very much. One key takeaway is from I was with Julie, so is to really think where our abstract actually fits in, whether it's a showcase or a poster or roundtable, and also she's given ideas on how to develop it further to fit the audience that's going to come. And obviously the other is to meet the expectation of the audience, so we have to be realistic with our titles and what we are presenting, so that it doesn't disappoint anyone who comes to our session, as well as engages the appropriate people who want to be who are interested in that area of study. So that's the key takeaway, and thank you very much.
Thanks, Celia, for articulating that. Yeah, I think it's a really important point in terms of, yeah, really thinking about who's going to be attracted. And I remember what I was going to say now. Be careful that your abstract is not going to narrow down the potential attendees, microbiology practices online, so yeah, see if you can broaden that out so that it opens up that potential for attracting, you don't want a round table with 2 people there. It's very depressing. So see if you can open up with just a few additional words, like with Hunso's session, online learning, nursing students. So basically you're going to attract the people that want to learn strategies for online, as well as those that are teaching nursing students. Manisha.
That's a very good point you made, Alice. I was just going to second that point. That title itself should be engaging, and when you're having that engaging title, you're not narrowing your audience at all. So, and you are going at an education conference where people from all different disciplines come and join your presentations, and they have something to learn from each of the disciplines, no matter if they are within nursing or business or accounting, wherever they are. They can learn teaching practices from any discipline. But when you've got those in the title, it kind of then there are concurrent sessions going on, and then they have to pick from one of those concurrent sessions, and with those wordings you're narrowing down that participation. So that's something that I wanted to second as well.
Lovely.
Good
Amanda.
point.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Manisha.
thank you. And just further adding on to what you were saying, Manisha, is not to go too general with your title, that then people walk in and then go, hang on, there is absolutely nothing here for me. So if you are wanting to broaden it out, say it was microbiology students, first year lab skills, you might think about, well, in the study that I've done, what other learnings did I take from this, or that I could share from other people that are outside of my discipline? Like, is it all only super specific to my one area, or is this applicable to anyone who teaches in the biology discipline, or even in lab-based courses, or any first years that do some skills? Like, so think about how you can share your findings, and what is the thing, what's the thing you want people to walk out of your presentation going, oh my gosh, I'm totally going to try that thing.
Yeah.
And so having that really strongly come through gives you that thread that
Yep.
then means your title can be as broad as is appropriate.
Yes.
And then they walk out of there feeling like, yeah, I got what I was promised.
I
Because
love
if
that.
they don't.
Yeah, I love that. And also, just to let you know, I was telling some of the colleagues that were in my group that on the HERDSA, I'm on the HERDSA executive, and my role in that space is particularly related to the scholarship of teaching and learning at an Australasian level. So basically what you're noting there applies also to the writing of future papers, etc., where if you were applying to, say, submit to the HERD journal, you would want broader application, Amanda. So I think about that broader application and how you might use the engagement section and work in the engagement into your presentation as well. Think about what that might look like, sound like. So if it was very discipline specific, you could open it up with a provocation question. Just use the first 15 or whatever minutes, you know, of a showcase to talk about, this is my research, but then basically in a high-end journal article, if you're writing for that, you go, this has implications, blah, 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 blah. But you've got this whole audience in front of you. So you could be posing a question. You've just heard about this research and the key insights. What I'm wondering is there anything that you would value or see that you could apply or nuance in your context? How cool is that, a conversation to have in a showcase or something like that? So yeah, be thinking about using that engagement section, and then you could also weave that into the intent of the roundtable or the showcase, is that you're not only going to present your research, but you're going to open that up to inviting considerations for future application implications. Yeah.
One other thing that we talked about in our group, there were quite a few people who were thinking of doing the roundtables, and we spoke about how that engagement piece, think about what you want from your audience. Why are you choosing roundtable? Not so you can talk at people in a table setting, but so you can hear back from others. So what do you want from them? Who do you want to hear from? And how do you make them aware that this is a table they should come and sit at? So having that front of mind as well, just like you go, what's my research question? It's like, well, what's my roundtable question? How am I going to get the right people coming to the right table so I get what I need for my research and can continue refining it and moving it forward? So
and that's that cycle.
Vibe.
That was the cycle of what we talked about before at the beginning of this conversation, is that basically you need to think about what's in it for you and why do you want this particular type of format, and then what's in it for them. So I think that rounds nicely to yours. Is there any final points or any other hands up that I'm missing out on? Any other takeaways? Pega, do you have any takeaway?
Sorry, I missed the first session. First of all, hi. Sorry, I missed the first session because we had another meeting. But then the question I have, because I've done everything for the abstract, and thanks so much, I was listening. What I'm in doubt about is that, you know how the website has very clearly said you have to have headings and etc. I was wondering whether all the headings should be maintained while writing the abstract, or should I answer all the headings and embed everything and integrate that as a proper abstract?
No, you just copy and paste into there'll be headings in your abstract when you submit it. So in the Word document, you can put those headings in, but when you plug it into the submission site, it has one called context, topic, outcomes, engagement. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, because I know it's the focus of showcase, background, description, method, evidence, contribution, engagement. But then when I was putting like my abstract and copying and pasting it, it was just a section that was just the abstract. So that's why, but that's okay. I would keep the bold headings to ensure that I'm doing the right
Manisha's
thing.
done one already for this one. Manisha, do you want to?
Yeah, I can answer that. Pega,
Sure.
my first suggestion to everyone is if you haven't signed in or signed up for on the portal, just do that. Have a look at the portal and the way it will accept your submissions. Once you sign up, you'll have to create a new account. Even if you've done a submission last year on 2025 portal, you create a new account and then you add your contact details. Once you've done the contact details, then and only then you will have the tab available to you for submission and a new submission. That new submission, you create that, put your title in. You can change this title later on as well, but you can put your title in and you will see all the different menus, menu items on your left-hand side. Abstract is one box. So whatever you have got on the 300 word document, you copy and paste as plain text. It doesn't take any bolding or anything like that. Just take a copy from Word document, do right click, paste as plain text. Right.
Yes,
so that's
sure,
the
which
way
I've
you
done.
should go.
Yeah, because I just was wondering whether I have to keep the headings, which means I have to, like,
Yeah,
you know,
you
like
have
in
to
your
keep.
abstract. Yeah, okay, sure,
Yeah,
not
so
a
keep
problem.
those headings, the background, initiative, or outcome, contribution to scholarship. These are those different headings. Keep them there. Some of the people who've been doing this submission, they keep spacing between their paragraphs. So once they've pasted that, and then they keep the spacing between each of the headings. So that's the way to go if you want to. That's not necessary, but it kind of helps you to visualize that better. The word count, as you enter the word count, it counts the word count for you. Those boxes are quite intuitive. They would know the number of word count that you are putting, and any more than 300 would not be accepted for abstract, or no more than 200 for the alignment statement, no more than 300 for references, no more than 20 for title.
Beautiful. Great. Thank you so much.
Okay, I think we're all exhausted, motivated, inspired, ready to rock and roll. And Celia, did you have one more question before we?
No, sorry, I have just
good.
wrongly clicked.
You're
it.
just
Yes.
going, yay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. May the force be with you. Wishing you all the best with amazing abstracts, and look forward to hearing and seeing from you at the 2025 conference. Take care.
Thank you.